25. We're going straight into game because we have no Nick on cam. And people want to see his face, and that's just the way it is.
People want to see the shiny dome.
Oh.
Which is Jebro head. Yeah, show your face.
Show my face?
Yeah.
I don't think I've got a chat in the thing. That's the only problem.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But the game is the only thing that really matters anyway. And the game coming up will be the finals for today, and that's SALT, aka Your Goose is Cooked, against oRNG Logo, aka oRNG.
Indeed. As the sun shines directly into my face, which you can't see because you probably would have been blinded. Right, so we're going to go over to tension.
Just as a side note, not relevant at all, but in the last break, I had the first bumblebee of the year fly randomly into my face. So it's getting spring. It's actually becoming spring. Spring is arriving. I'm happy. Bumblebees bumping into my face.
I just picked the worst time to go on tension. Oh dear. Oh well. Okay, so that's yeah, that's true. I saw a little one scrolling along the floor the other day. But anyway, yeah, summer is here. We're in the summer of Guild Wars 2 sPVP. Not summer, but more like spring. But it feels like summer in this house at the moment because it's bloody warm. Anyway, we're going to go over to Engineer at first. He's going to be playing Celestial Engineer with the Vampirism Rune as well, going for that Power Wrench over in the bottom tree. Tage is going to be playing DPS Meditation Hammer Guardian. He's going to be going with the Rune of the Pack. We saw him flipping over to Vampirism Rune last week on the first game, I do believe, but then changed over again on the second. Frey is going to be playing a Dagger Pistol Thief Panic Strike build, but with the Vamp Rune as well. And then we're going over to Rom, who's going to be playing the Shellbow Warrior, of course. And then finally over to, let's just double check his traits. Yep, typical build there. And going over to Jigglypuff, who's going to be playing Dagger Elemental, this Celestial, supporting his team, giving heals out, cleansing, and being sustained on node, as well as giving himself and his team fire fields to blast to give themselves might to increase their damage over time.
I'm way too distracted by the chat at the moment, by the map chat.
I need to ban him. Sorry.
Either funny coincidence or people are actually starting to make SpongeBob jokes.
Where?
In map chat. And Denchi really has no idea how to write Spanish.
I didn't know he's that multi-talented. I know he multi-classes, but come on. What's going on today? Today's been a very, very random ESL Go4 Guild Wars 2 Cup. A DQ in the semis between the teams who were in the finals last week. TCG actually won that, so now SALT have had the official win over them. And this is actually the semi-final matchup that we had last week as well, which, if you weren't here and you haven't watched the VODs, SALT actually won versus oRNG Logo. So that's actually quite a good update as well. So we're looking for a bit of payback from oRNG Logo. Will they be able to get it, Nick? What do you reckon?
That very much depends on the form of both teams, I think.
Didn't really see. They did win their last semi quite strongly.
Yeah, but okay, that was Wiki's Wicked Wangang puck. So that's kind of a bunch of people, like a group of 20 people where some of them are playing.
It's very true.
So not really that
Different
much of
level.
an organized team. But oRNG Logo, of course, we know they can be strong. We know they are our reigning WTS champions.
Indeed.
But they have also been beaten. Might have some communication issues here and there lately. Maybe some tactical decisions that didn't quite go as planned. And SALT, on the other hand, also a team that can be very day form dependent.
Yeah, true.
That's we saw now, as you mentioned in the game before. Maybe Frostball and Trebex and the entire team in general kind of set in the way of trying to play the defensive two-node game they had to play in the quarterfinals. But now it's against a team where that doesn't really work. They need to go back to the old ways that worked with the Carver or Honey on the side node, getting the decaps on there, and then really playing all 3 nodes. It's kind of what they did.
That's true. I was just going to say that, you know, another thing that's very important is consistency of playing, because I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that Orange Logo aren't actually playing as a team very consistently at the moment, and that their consistency is actually made up of the Go4 Cups on Sunday, and sometimes those ESL Weekly Cups during the week. I think there's a little bit of lack of consistency from their play at the moment, whereas I know Salt are playing, you know, considerably a lot more. Weekly Cups they're in the Sunday Cups as well. See most of their team online every day. And in Guild Wars 2 sPVP, if you don't play for like a week, or if you don't play for like even a couple of days, sometimes you can just become a little tiny bit rusty. I'm just saying in general rather than specific players and people. But I think that will actually be that might actually come in today as well. So just wait for these guys to ready up. Let's play the blame game and blame wrong.
So we know that Salt can win against Orange Logo.
Yes, indeed. They did win against their full lineup. There was no
sub, lagging, no other circumstances that would explain that. No, it was just a really fantastic game from Salt, and maybe not quite as fantastic a game of Orange Logo. Let's see if they can show us something different today as we go into the first game of the finals. It's a best of 3, of course. First map is Forest of Niflhel. On the red side, we do have Salt, your goose is cooked, and on the blue side, it's Orange Logo.
So having a look as the blue team go over towards the mid, going through that archway on the west side of the map, we got a bit of quite an offensive move as well, as Frey tries to get onto the point as soon as possibly can to get a few ticks, and tries to also get in onto Honey and make sure she gets them some kind of immobilized, with a lot of damage there, and the edge just ends up porting out and then porting right back. Needs to be careful there. Trebex and Frostball will be on his butt like anything, trying to take him down. Does a good job at trying to escape actually as well as Denchinier comes in. And because of that pressure, Trebex coming in and maybe a slight bit of overcommittal from him, and is going to be taken out here quite early on.
That was just way too much, but Carver in its usual manner going to the far point, getting the decap directly after he capped the mine, which is kind of a move you might be able to predict. Orange Logo did not do so, so even though they're losing a player on the mid node, they will be going into the advantage. And with the respawn, okay, now they need to wait for Honey to respawn as well, since she went down the mid. That might open up the possibility for Orange Logo to really just run over the mine node, but that is the close node. Yeah, that is a close point, so the respawn is going to come in faster anyways.
Probably just could have gone back to mid, to be honest, but they're actually going to try and engage here. Denshi and also Jigglypuff can sustain this quite a long time, actually. Trebex is very low himself, has to be careful, as he does get cleaved out in the end by Tage and Frey. Not much he could do there other than reveal himself and leave, but I think it was just, you know, kind of depending on a bit of luck there more than anything. Honey comes out to try and get the actual res there. We're going to see the war banner dropped. Trebex is going to be back up. And we actually saw Frostball going over for the decap in mid. They do have 2 side nodes as well, so they're doing a great job at actually keeping the points, even though they lost some team members early on.
Yeah.
Good job.
They did. The outer nodes are really playing in the favor at the moment, and not even Jigglypuff not going for the full cap. They want to get the kill advantage. Orange Logo, as we like to see them, just going full on aggressive, going for the kills and just really points. That's the thing that comes later. Once you've completely demolished your enemy, then you can go for the capture points.
But look at the movement here. We've got them all kind of around here. And we saw Salt kind of pushing back through and actually creating some distance and then funneling Orange Logo into that kind of area there. So that was actually a good job, and they survived it really well. Now they're actually pulling them all the way back to the point and fighting it more their way. But the unfortunate thing here is that Honey is currently solo versus 2 players who got the decap quite easily. And then we've actually picked up the mid for Orange Logo. So Red Team are kind of split up here around the map. And Honey's in the downstate over on the mine now. Frostball's 1v2.
Also, yeah, curious rotations there. Frostball 1v2 in the midpoint without really assistance. That's not a position you really want to be in as a Mesmer. Might catch him off guard before he can really go into the fight. Engineer now moving in there. And then we have the Pain Train together with the assistance of Carver coming in from the side. And it's just an all-out fight on the side. On the stairs, you're trying to get Denshi down before it even goes to the cap. No, Carver now moving away from all of that. Trying to get the decap. And being sneaky there is Denshi before we see the Vampirism rune coming to his rescue. The focus has switched slightly.
I mean, it was a good timing, actually, from Carver, because just as he knows that Denshinier is probably going to drop into that Vampirism, look at that knockback from Frostball outside of that Shadow Refuge, and Vampirism Rune is not going to save Denshinier today. And actually, they almost... Oh, you can see the Moa coming out onto Rom there, sorry, as they're going to the wrong player's perspective. And Rom's just going to be under quite a lot of pressure. He can't get away. He's that fish skill already.
He did so close. He vengeance to assist in the down of Denshinier. But he actually ended up rallying him after the Vengeance War.
No, unfortunately for him as well. And that Moa kind of wasted as well in the end. In the short term, it's quite nice so he can get the res. But they were focusing...
Exactly
oh my god.
Rom's
OP even in Moa. What? But it's the same kind of idea, you know, people trying to train him down from behind as he starts to get away, forgetting about what else is actually going on, and then in the end, Orange Logo come back from being one man in the down state and one person mowed to winning the fight, both players being alive and pushing mid.
Yeah,
that's a comeback in itself right there.
In that situation, Nye Jr. really would have just had to die on the sidelines because we haven't had Denshi in the downside there, haven't attacked actually, so he wouldn't have rallied on it.
Yeah.
Only him really getting involved in the fight after using the Vengeance to get back up. Yeah, kind of lost it there, but it's still close at the moment. They're picking up the cap over on... They picked up the cap over on the mid. Nye Jr. went there, got that one. Denshi now on his way to maybe get the decap. On the other side, we have the close node of SALT, of course the favorable node for them to fight on. 4 people now there trying to take Tate shot. Frey already running and Jigglypuff coming there for the assistance.
Yeah, Frey's just they're trying to, both the DPS team is trying to take out Frostball as fast as possible. Frostball's doing a really good job at just mitigating that damage. Line of sighting, using that sword number 2, that Blurred Frenzy, is actually going to come back right onto Tage. And just as Jiggly uses that, starts to move in to support Tage, he actually gets cleaved out himself. You see War Banner there from Rom just in the corner of our screen. As you do see him coming to the rescue, a good rotation from him just to get them some nice support there. He's not going to stay on the node at mine most likely, just because he's not going to be able to do much, you know. There's no point in doing that, so that's why he's moving over to mid to go to the contested point, which they will start to cap now. Orange Logo starting to come back into this fight. Night Genie dropping so low. He's got his banner. They don't want to lose him. Look, again, they're not falling for it. They're moving out. A great sword number 2 for the escape there, and he's got away fully. Orange Logo not able to suck salt into those fights in the roads down the bottom of the keep, and actually they're being quite aggressive. Carver now moving over towards the henge could probably get this, not Carver, sorry, Denshinier against Trebex to get this decap, I think.
Why, I'm really wondering, why didn't Salt move towards the henge earlier? They got the decap, Trebex would have definitely gave the call, I'm gonna get the full cap on that. But they still chose to engage on that neutral point instead of the camp one on the other side. And they were just in a fight they were not going to win in that case, because we did have somebody just standing on the sidelines, whereas oRNG just had a full-on engage on them. They picked up the lead now, but that's gonna go away in a second if we see a down of Knight Jr. and maybe Frostball over on the midpoint.
They're relying on these fights.
Advantage, and now they're in a rather more equal situation.
They are really relying on these fights, winning these fights in the roads, and then, you know, we saw it from Jigglypuff when he moved down. Like, that was the decision that they made as a team, and that's what they've done before, where it's actually paid off. But Salt haven't fallen for it in the same kind of way. They know that. They've scouted out that now. They know that's what's going to happen. Although Knight is down over on the mine now, Rom is going to just finish him off there, making sure the Trebex is going to come in for the cheeky res. So that's going to be a significant amount of support and cooldowns out here as well. They've got the portal activation coming out from Frostball. Unfortunately, not surviving long enough up on the top there of the keep, and he's going to be put out of this fight quite quickly. Honey very low herself as 3 members of the orange logo start to move in for the kill. Full HP, she's not going to be here for very long at all. She's going to try and escape, potentially. No, she just needs to contest, and she made the right decision there to just hold on the point. We are going to see red team doing something very 55 HP monks-esque, going to that third node as they start to lose the other point and actually trying to get the decap, and they need to do it quite quickly as Denshi comes in for that potential pull, not getting it off in the end, and red team not probably got much of a chance at the moment of getting this decap.
It kind of baffles me how SALT was able to secure this double cap and actually being in the lead still for this long without really being able to win anything in terms of team fights. And it wasn't due to a rotational advantage. It was just because oRNG does not give a damn about the caps at the moment.
They do now. They're starting to get some. Although as soon as they get the 2 cap, they already lost it. They're relying a lot on these fights. Look, Rom's flying solo now over on the Henge 1v2, but he's fighting against 2 very supportive characters.
It might pay off now. I mean, we have Frelina having an eye on the keep, but Honey in a 1v1, that's going to be difficult. We see also Travex coming in from behind, so that's going to be a decap mid definitely. And that's just a rotation now with pretty much all the force of orange logo concentrated to get that mine point. They're going to take a while to really get over to the mid. Is Frelina going to be able to hold that? Yes, the thief bunker, apparently the new thing. Neutral going to come out anyways. But this is normally oRNG. They can just ignore these nodes so much and focus on the team fight because they are just demolishing people in the team fights. But in this case, they are still going for it, but not winning these team fights by such a large margin that it pays off. We see SALT always getting this sneaky decap on the side and not really fully wiping for them to gain control of the entire map.
I mean, they're starting to pull back now. I mean, I'm not pull back, but Orange Logo really starting to get a bit of a lead here. So he just starts to disengage over from that mid there on the just below the steps to get some cooldowns back. And he's going to actually use the Renault Focus there to try and get some might back into this fight, as well as then re-engaging over onto Trebex there. Frostball's just in stealth and needs to be quite careful here as Denshi is quite low. They could easily get some burst on him. There you go, there it is. Denshi needed to be a little bit more careful, being so low HP, but probably knowing that Rom was right there as well to offer up some support. But, you know, good lord. That banner was good, well placed.
Frostball falling. Frostball not really being able to do it. Oh, Denshi also down, and that's going to be the rally. Frostball just being a bit too low there to really do anything. And Trebex, that's the kind of move we saw already. It's kind of falling apart in other situations. Just go for the back point because nobody is having an eye on that. It's just wide open, and Orange Logo is pressuring for the next team fight. Yeah,
they need that decap to come back into this game potentially. We've got 70 or so points left in this game. Sorry, 70 points lead at the moment for Orange Logo, but the time's ticking. We've got 3 minutes 30 seconds, and the game's been blooming slow at the moment, to be honest. Then she's just going to range over on the mid now on the east side of the keep as we go into his perspective, just trying to get some regeneration over onto the rest of his teammates. Rom there doing a good job of supporting over on the other side of the node as Denshi kind of gets pushed on the other side, and they're kind of trying to sandwich SALT at the moment. Denshi does a nice knockback there over onto Knight and almost forces him to leave that fight and to actually go over towards the henge. Is he going to contest it, or are they going to use the thief to +1 it? I think they're going to use the thief to +1 it. They need to make sure they get on the node. Yes, they've got it contested. That means they can potentially take this fight now. Knight Junior or someone. Oh no, look, they're going off node now. They just want to kill Tage. Frostball's down as well. If they can get that kill on Tage, actually, that will be a good even up. They need to try and do that if they possibly can. Tage is not looking like he's in a massive amount of trouble, though, to be honest. Actually, it looks like Trebex is in more trouble.
We had actually pretty cool 2v2 going on over on the mine point. Carver now coming back to still keep this neutral and keep them in the game. It's only 2 minutes 20 left, so this might actually, if they can gain an advantage in capture points, come down to the bosses. It could be close, but still they're picking up the kills all over the place. Here and there, just these tiny kills. The 2v2 between, we had Frostball and Carver win the 2v2 against Frey and Jigglypuff. But then Ron came in for the assistance, just got these straight up res and out in contention again. They got the 1 point, so they are making up something of this lead. They just need to be really careful with stuff like the midpoint. Travex is already on the engage on Denshi there. He pulled the Elixir S, can sustain himself of course, and against Frey it's going to be really difficult to keep this neutral. But they need to either that or get the or pick up the cap over on the mine. Otherwise they can't even solve it with creature kills anymore.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what we're going to... Oh! Whoa, that damage coming out from Tage and Freylina over onto Trebex is going to put him into the down state. And like you said, they need to try and contest at the moment. We've got Frey going for that decap over on the mine. That's a good decision, especially as they start to take out more players on the map as well. But we are going to see mid. We should be okay here for a little bit of time. Actually, Denshi might go down there if he's not careful. Trebex is going to come in as well for some support. Just wondering what Denshi's going to do now. He did use that Elixir S tool belt skill. Didn't note actually that he was using the Elixir S there as well, so do need to remember that. And still sustained across the map. 2 boss kills will put them 3 points ahead if they can pick them both up. That's if they can get the caps. Denshi is also down as well. He's just been rezzed. What are they going to go for here? The points are still, even with 1 tick, Trebex in downstate as well is going to be 5 more points ahead. So even with those... Oh, they've got the cap over on the henge as well. They can start going for boss kills. They've got to remember how much time they've got left. 30 seconds left in the game.
They need to go for boss kills now.
46
and we
points.
have Trebex down, actually. So nobody's advanced with that. Do they have Do they have that in mind? They need to pay attention to the clock. Guys, you have people in downstate, have them have a look at the clock now. 16 seconds, that's almost not enough if you're not really fully engaging on that one.
Not now.
We've got the midpoint picked up by oRNG, and that's going to just sustain that lead they currently have. 4 seconds left. Nobody's even thinking about going for the bosses. I think they didn't really have an eye on the timer.
I think you're right, actually, to a degree. Although, I don't know, maybe they
Trebex
just...
was down, so really the
go for
boss secure is a bit negated with that.
Oh. Yeah, we did see that happen was it last week between these two teams, or was that between TCG? No, TCG stole the boss from SALT when Carver was versus...
The 499 boss steal game.
Yeah. That was pretty epic. Okay, so oRNG Logo taking control there. But, SALT could have backed off a little bit, maybe. But, they needed to keep the points contested, like you said. But they also, sending players off to go and kill the bosses might have lost them the caps. So they probably would have lost the point score overall anyway, even if they had gone for the bosses. And they got to, if they were a little bit closer, they could have gone a bit earlier. But that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. And we're just going to ask these guys to ready up, please.
And now, with the second map, we kind of have two factors changing the game up. The first one is that situation we had last time. If we see a similar point situation, there's always a lot. Easy fix there. But we also have to consider that oRNG is a lot stronger on this map.
That's very true.
They are a lot stronger on Fofire than they are on Niflhel. So if they win Niflhel, most of the time, it's not really looking that good for the enemy team on Fofire.
We just have to see how we go. I mean, with SALT, they did play very well on this game, on this map last time, just by holding the 2 points. And I actually think that might be more beneficial if they can get less caught out in these areas kind of on the map. I don't know. Well, they've got the Mesmer. They've got the Mesmer and Thief though.
Yeah.
So they've got a lot of mobility.
But we still had these moves. I think, especially in that game from last week, we mentioned that they were kind of interchangeable in the roles as whether or not Honey or a Carver go on the side points and get these decaps in the 1v1. So they're interchangeable. And for the big mid fights, they were actually looking pretty good in their positioning.
We saw Honey going for that decap on the quarry as well in the last time versus TCG before the DQ. So.
Especially the focus switching. So if they get the proper engage and not immediately lose a member due to Frey and Tage, then it could look quite good for them. We'll have to see. Do they know that they can go?
Yeah. Said ready.
Yeah, you did write them. Good.
Indeed. So if you're with us currently, we are in the final of the ESL Go4GW2 Cup, number 25. We've almost been going for half a year, pretty much. It's almost, 25. It's almost half a year. It's pretty big, in my opinion. We've been going quite well up until this point. If you want to work out how much money that is, that's 25 times 500 euros, which has been given away so far in the weekly cup. And then of course you've got the other things which kind of pile on top of that, including the WTSs, of course. And you've got a ton of money going into Guild Wars 2 at sPVP and the monthlies as well. God blimey, that's a lot.
1.5k every month.
Yeah. Indeed. Oh god, someone definitely has to work that out and whisper me, because I'm not going to do it right now. But yeah, we're looking forward to seeing SALT on the red team versus oRNG Logo, the WTS champions on the blue. SALT not doing too bad of a job in that last game. They definitely weren't dominated. They did some good plays over on... Just trying not to get pulled into those fights below the keep was really, really good. And they actually came out through those different alleyways over on the east and west side, just below keep, to make sure they survived. And Knight pulled off a nice, really nice move where he really... was almost, he was really close to being down and actually got away very, very quickly. So good job from these guys. Looking forward to seeing this potentially maybe the last game if we see oRNG Logo pick up the map. But Nick's going to go over the splits.
A best of 3 already, so oRNG Logo can secure the win if they pick this one up. But SALT definitely within a chance, so let's have a look. oRNG Logo looking full on for the engage on the graveyard. Yeah, they are playing a 2-point strategy, and I assume that the pain train is going to kind of answer with that with the engage over on Jigglypuff. They want to take one out. That is kind of the SALT move. Try and take out the guy on the far node immediately. If possible, save the mower to maybe mower Rom, who by now really knows the mower skills well.
I was going to say, it's almost, almost changing his build to make sure that the mower skills are going to be very, very useful. Frostball using that portal there to actually go back over towards, let's just confirm where that exactly is going to be, over towards the mid there, as he's kind of, he was actually crippled there as he started to move away from that point, knowing he wasn't going to get very far, but as soon as he gets to mid, he just targets Tage and starts to get him down very, very low here. He needs to be very careful himself and uses that distortion actually, just aware that he does have Denchinier and whatnot behind him, and Tage, and also for that reflect as well, so just do note to double check that that is exactly what his running he is. So good job from him. They did eventually, just as I'm talking about it, get him down. Static field dropped down as well. We obviously see a war banner coming out from Rom, which is going to raise him back up. Good play, good defense, and good support coming out from Rom, as well as Denchinier, who's actually coming around the side. They're focusing on the side point fight, on the fights off node now. Rom knows that they need to stay on node, though, to keep the point. That's the problem. That is the only problem with doing what they do.
Very strong. That is a very strong situation. They lost Frostball, but they are now in a 2-cap with 1 neutral. So first, no, they
Carver,
didn't lose
yeah,
Frostball. He just didn't have any health left, so he looked dead. Okay.
You're right, though. They did lose someone. Carver's down.
And now they first need to invest 1 player into the waterfall node to recap that, giving SALT the opportunity to also get the regroup, or just answer with the mower on Rom and try and get him down, of course taking out the warbanner, which is on cooldown now anyways, but still, Rom's a good target.
I don't know anymore if Rom is a good target.
Kind of.
It depends how they deal with it in the follow-up, They can use it and actually get him down, whether or not they're going to use it into the point where he can't use his banner, or that's already off. He's still got the cooldown. It's not actually back up yet, and whether or not they're using it to try and make sure that he can't go in for the res or support, or actually trying to get the damage down. Because in the end, again, the mower is used on Rom, and they lose out on that situation. Trebex is out of this fight. So is Frostball. That's the DPS team of the red team out. They do still have the advantage of having the cap points, and they do still have the advantage, of course, not the advantage, but more the fact that they've got their consistent, sustained people on the map, although Honey is going to drop down now as mid as well. And that's a good push from Denchinier, because just as she's in trouble, Knight can't push to mid to try and help her out, because, you know, he's got people pushing his node as well, and he's actually going to bail here.
Now you're going to have to see how much will you sacrifice for the regroup. Midpoint is lost. We saw the decap coming up from Trebex. If he doesn't get caught anywhere, that's a perfect situation. Or just picking up the in the middle of nowhere lying Carver in downstage. So 2 people on the map already. That opens up the chance for an engage, especially with Frostball in the mid. Only 2 people defending from oRNG. Can they get the quick kill on Tage?
I don't know, we have to see. He's going to Tage's perspective, and he's going to actually be... probably not, actually. He's still got some cooldowns. He's got renewed focus. He's actually going to reverse it and port onto him using that Ring of Warding. And Trebex is going to port out of there as well, trying to use that blind as well as also the blinding powder there to get away. And he's actually going to stealth and use that Shadow Refuge. Good reactions from Trebex to stay alive, but even probably, you know, Tage just using that idea that they're just kind of chilling and trying to go for the damage on me. I'm just going to reverse it up and really pressure Trebex going through that portal now back towards the midpoint to try and catch out Jigglypuff. I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately, for him, and he's going to be able to move back to mid, which means Trebex is going to have to actually travel back towards the waterfall if he wants to try and back up Carver here to pick up this point.
And now with the mid cap, it was open for quite a while. They could have maybe been sneaky there, but to be honest, the engage on the waterfall wasn't really enough to keep any of the players there. Picking up the quarry afterwards, if they can get the kill on Denchinier, and is looking very well for that. Vampiric Rune coming in there and not really getting him down there, really saving him there. Cooldowns back up, healing turret used, and the support from Jigglypuff coming in. Midpoint looking strong and not really going anywhere at the moment.
Unless
Trebex
they don't
down on the side, they're always losing people all over the place.
Getting off the point as well. Stackfield dropped over onto that body, and Trebex, yeah, unfortunately over on the towards the midpoint isn't going to be back in this fight for a while. Sort of losing some players here and there. Normally about 4 people actually in the map, but still coping quite well. Frostball quite low himself. He's going to start to try and engage over on Frey. Needs to be careful here as he does get that shatter off in close range. He's got his heal back up, but the conditions and damage comes out from both Denchinier and Tage. Look at that coming in, making sure that they get that kill. Tage is going to, you know, just port him over there and do this swag stomp of swagness. Why not? It's a good idea, you know.
The lead not really that large.
Sorry?
The lead isn't really that large yet.
Not really. You know, I mean, the thing is that Salt come back into the map, and oRNG Lego have the caps. oRNG Lego go for the kills, they go move off point, and they lose the caps very easily. And in that time, normally Salt are getting a couple of caps back themselves, so actually they're bringing the points in through mainly the caps, whereas oRNG Lego are bringing the cap points and the kills in. And you can probably see that in the score, I guess. Yeah, you can see blue team
Trebex
score.
rising himself in stealth, so sometimes it actually works. It is really risky most of the time, but this time around he was so kind of out of sight, out of mind that that he was actually able to pick that up. And then, of course, you have the advantage of immediately being in the position of getting back into the fight.
It's such a slow game as well. Slow FOFA. There's many slow FOFAs nowadays, but hey ho. Well, not, you know, when it actually goes the full game. I mean, we've still got 8 minutes left. There's not been really secure caps this whole game, to be fair.
I mean, we had, that's kind of 2 different things. We had a while with this really tanky meta that people just had 3 fights on 3 points and all was, everything was neutral for the entire time.
It was just
this
one
time
mistake,
around, it's just switching around so quickly that people aren't really able to accumulate any kind of significant score.
No, not at all. This is quite kind of similar in the first game as well, to be honest, actually. Having a look at Denchionier's perspective as he drops into low HP there. He's going to actually use that tool belt skill to try and get some stealth and re-engage, possibly getting a nice pull onto Knight Jr. there, trying to interrupt his damage and his support as he starts to get away here, but Frostball and Trebex follow in. Nice move from them, and we are going to see the Vamp Rune proc comes up. It goes straight into that toolkit number 4 to block a lot of that damage, and then using that heal as well to escape. Great survivability coming out from Denchinier, and he's going to be doing okay here, using that fiery greatsword to then deal some extra cleave over on that point. Frostball low HP himself, looking at the quarry, might need to think about potentially going for some kind of cap there, or pulling oRNG Logo over to the point.
Frostball, that is not the smartest of ideas to get back into the fight. that low on health, not really having any defensive cooldowns there. Frostball is gone. You don't go for the rest in that situation. Just try and keep it neutral. We saw Trebex trying to pick up the decap over on the waterfall, but didn't quite make it in time. Other than that, we would have had the neutral. Now both teams gaining 1 point every 2 seconds and just 1 point apart. At the moment, the really insignificant lead going over to oRNG Logo.
Indeed, just 1 point as we got the equal 2 caps. Denshi tries to go for a cheeky decap. Carver actually doing a great job at looking after his back node there and getting quite a considerable amount of damage actually onto Denshi with the combination of the knockback and also the bombs. So good job from him as he starts to throw a ton of grenades onto the point and actually is probably quite aware. Oh, Denshi gets the nice pull onto Carver there as well. And we're actually going to try and find out what's going on with Frostball here as he's over on the waterfall. Trying to get that decap over on Jigglypuff as blue team pick up the midpoint. So they need to try and get this to make sure it's still fairly close.
Oh.
Mesmer Lord Rush, though, could bring them back into this.
Yeah, the Lord Rush is pretty much what it's going to come down to. But at this present moment, we don't have any point income for SALT. So not looking too well for them in terms of getting the, well, 103 points to actually enable that as a possibility.
Oh. Fast engage over onto mid, as I was in Frostball's perspective with the portal, trying to take Tage down. He's going to be full HP still, but he must have used a lot of it. He must have used his heal on quite a few of his utilities. He did indeed. He's going to have to use that renewed focus as well to even think about surviving that. Does a good job. Look at Jiggly coming out with the support. Really good job from him supporting the team as well. You know, that always happens. And oRNG Logo are just sustaining the map as it is at the moment. I mean, Quarries should get this cap now, actually. Carver just picking up that point. Frostball going to go down again as he tries to commit so much damage over to Tage. It was Tage, sorry. And then Jigglypuff coming up with the support as well that, you know, again, someone just comes up from behind and takes him out.
The problem is that, especially facing up against oRNG Logo, in the effort of securing a position from where they can actually get an advantage, meaning getting 1 cap and everyone not dead, they lose 1 player pretty much all the time. oRNG Logo is in these team fights, is winning the team fights, and as soon as SALT try to regroup, they're directly in their face, and to regain that 1 point even, they already lose someone. And then you can just, even if you get the advantage, you can't sustain it if someone's already dead.
I mean, yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? And they almost took Trebex out down before, but he's actually in a down state again, and he needs to get res. Honey's here, she's got the armor of Earthbrock. It's going to be very difficult for them to get that res. It's not going to happen. And if they don't get this decap now, oh god, Night Junior's down as well. This isn't good. To be in this position, they don't want to start going to the Lord. They need to start going to the Lord around 410, 420 points, especially if a free comes out for oRNG Logo as well. And having 2 big players off the map and then respawning and Carver almost down as well, it's not looking like the best position to be in to have a Lord Rush, in all honesty.
Yeah, it's just too many points, and oRNG Logo is just able to sustain this 2 cap too well. There isn't going to be a quick switch, so I don't really see any way out of this at the moment anymore for SALT.
Yep,
the lead is too much to really go for the Lord Rush. They can't equalize the scores there. 3 minutes still on the board, so they can't try and just take over the lead, just barely.
Just as Frostball again drops his portal, he's going to be taken into the down state. He's not going back through that. He's not surviving, and this is pretty much on the road for a win to oRNG Logo. And coming back and actually picking up a Go4 Cup win here now. Playing a lot more, I don't know. SALT were playing, I actually think SALT played pretty well at different points, you know, but they just couldn't.
Yeah.
Like you said before, they always had like 4 players on the map, and oRNG Logo, you know, they kind of suck you into those fights off node. They don't care about the nodes like you to a degree. Obviously you have to get points on the map, but they're relying on rotating around the map, getting those kills, always being outnumbered, always outnumbering the opposite team, so they can pick up the nodes quite quickly and keep those consistent kills coming in. I mean, look at the point score over on their team. You know, 90 top score over on the red team, 175 on blue. That just describes the game infinitely well, you know. They got the kills, so they couldn't come back into the map. They couldn't rotate around the map effectively. And that's the way it goes. And congratulations to Orange Logo and Salt for picking up some cash today.
Yeah.
Ta-da.
Both of them win something. Only Orange Logo a little bit more.
Indeed, indeed.
Actually, 4 times that, so.
Rubbing the salt in the wound.
Hey!
Hey! And on that very, very bad joke, and in the quiet moment that we're having in Kyla at the moment, because we're not showing cams, because Nick's face can't be shown, and I'm not going to show my face if he's not showing his. Also because, yeah, it kind of failed. We are going to say goodbye for this week of the ESL Go4GW2 Cup, number 25. Anything you want to say, Nick, before we go?
Not really at the moment. Maybe just saying, well, I would try and list all the cups that are going on, but to be honest, there are too many. I don't have them all in my head on my own. Do we have a list somewhere?
I can
where all
probably
of those
tell
are?
you actually.
You can tell me all
ESL
of them.
events, I'll tell you. ESL.
Okay, that's a bit easy.
Yeah,
All
that's
of them.
we stick to the ESL.
Every
side.
tournament, every community cup.
There's a lot
Go.
of community cups up. Actually, I probably could. But I'm just going to say the ESL events. We have the NA Cup on this channel later today. We have then on Tuesday with Mr. Divok himself, the 2v2, and I do believe it's with him. Then we have the weekly with myself and Nick again on Thursday, and then Sunday again will be the weekly cup. We do have some AG tournament going over on tomorrow, the EU side, and also I think we've got Aspect GG events going on, as well as multiple community tournaments. There was a Brazil tournament yesterday as well. Sorry, South American tournament, I believe, on yesterday, as well as French community tournaments, Spanish. There's tons of teams and players out there, guys. Sign up for these cups. Because there's really good talent out there. Guys in the chat, I know that at least half of you are pro players. So get involved. Thank you for watching us this week and watching the teams and watching Orange Logo take this cup this week on the ESL Go4GW2 Cup, number 25. We'll see you soon. We're going to have to salute in chat. See you later.
I'm doing it anyway, even though you can't see.
You see my hand move. Bye-bye.